Abigail Zasadil here. Thanks for joining me for this homework video. It's important that you watch till the very end so that you can answer questions to get you prepared to maximize our time on our call, as well as get a really clear vision of exactly what this coaching program entails and how it's going to transform your relationship quickly. All right, so without further ado, let's dive in. So why are you here? Why a relationship coach? Why did you reach out in the first place? A lot of people don't actually have an answer for this question. A lot of people go, I know what I don't want. I know I've been trying a lot of different approaches. Things aren't working and I feel stuck. I don't know what else to do. It's that sense of desperation and lack of vision that bring us here to this point. Now, if you are one of, like many of my clients who have already tried the counseling route, kudos to you for working on yourself. That's a really hard journey, especially if you're dealing with any past trauma. And I give you just many accolades for doing that. If you have already gone that route, you will know that it does help you heal yourself, but it doesn't heal the marriage. It doesn't help make it work. Because that's not what therapy is built to do. Therapy is truly built to help you process emotions. Doesn't exactly help you understand what to do with those. It's not built around really practical strategies. It's not about building a game plan, right? So the idea that counseling and coaching are mutually exclusive is false. They absolutely can work hand in hand. So if that's something that you're currently doing, awesome. If that's something that you think you might need now or in the future, great. It's a fantastic avenue to pursue. Understanding though that realistically that's not what counseling does. Counseling is not built to help you heal your marriage. And if you're like me and many of my clients and have actually gone the marriage counseling route, you know you've already spent a lot of money to pay a highly trained professional listen to you argue or to point fingers. And again, that is just not helpful. So we need to think about really what is it that we're looking to achieve? What do we actually want? This is a number of reasons that other tactics haven't worked. I have clients who say, I went to church, we pray, we try to do things together. We've really tried to work on our communication and nothing's working. And so when I ask people, what do they really want? A lot of times I hear, well, I want comfort. I want peace. I want love and affection. I want my friend back. And when they start thinking about these things, they go, oh man, they're actually talking themselves out of their own marriage. They go, it's not possible anymore. We've grown apart. We don't have anything in common. We're fighting all the time. We're just on separate pages. There is simply no way to bridge this gap. And they start to think that divorce or some sort of legal separation is going to be the only answer to bring them this peace, this comfort, bring this joy back into their life. And so I want you to ruminate on that for just a moment right now. Well, what would that actually look like? So, okay, you get a moment of peace going, okay, we're going to separate. We're going to be in two physical locations. And yeah, maybe for a moment the fighting will stop. But the fighting that you have right now, or the silent treatment, or however you're currently dealing with conflict, is going to get exponentially worse. Because the things you're fighting about today, or you're in conflict about today, are actually really, really small in comparison to what you'd be in conflict with, when you're going through a separation. So thinking about comfort, there is no comfort in divorce. It is exponentially more uncomfortable, more painful than anything you're experiencing right now. So to think, oh man, that's the easy out, that's the easy option, is really not taking into consideration exactly what that looks like, what that will entail. So what you might be bickering about today might be bills, might be kids, in-laws, your sex life, your priorities, silly things like what are we going to do today, or where are we going to go out to eat? I mean, all of these things make these little conflicts, and it may feel really big right now. You think, oh my gosh, we're fighting all the time. We simply can't go forward. Well, if you separate, you're going to be fighting over much bigger issues. Talking about time with your children, family assets, the family home, my gosh, the family dog. You're going to be fighting about things that you both are so deeply passionate about that you will never come to a peaceful resolution. Even the most amicable divorces are excruciating. This isn't even taking into consideration the financial ramifications. So thinking about the absence of fighting, right? That's where we think, oh, well, we're going to get out. We're going to get away from that. Well, now you're going to pay very high cost lawyers to be doing that fighting for you. That conflict is not going to go away. It's going to get exponentially worse. And then you think about every aspect of your life is going to be torn apart. Friends are choosing sides, maybe no sides at all. You had those couple friends that you would get together with on the weekends. Well, they're going to find different couple friends. Those people that you thought were nearest and dearest to you now are siding with your spouse. All of these things, right, impact our quality of life. So there are times, absolutely, when divorce is necessary, right? It's, in cases of abuse, or other, really egregious issues. But outside of abuse or serious addiction, even in the case of infidelity, couples can work through it. So we make these absolutes in our head, right? We say, oh, there's no way I would stand for X. That's the line in the sand. Well, that line is going to seem a lot more blurred when you're spending that first, insert whatever your favorite holiday is, by yourself, right? The first time that you have to say goodbye to your kids for an extended period of time. Saying goodbye to possibly the family home or some of your most cherished possessions, your pension, whatever it is that you're going to have to give up as a result of this divorce. There is no one that gets out of these situations unscathed. So you may go, oh, well, the kids are young, they're resilient, they'll bounce back, which is true. They will. But it doesn't mean that's not going to leave a mark on them and change their lives forever. So if you're sitting here thinking, I don't really know what I want, I know what I don't want. Well, I want you to start visualizing, what does good look like? Because when we just start thinking about what we don't want, we get away from what healthy looks like. And we start making shortcuts in our mind that or making excuses that, oh, this is the only option, this is the only way. And I will tell you, as a person who has been through divorce, it is absolutely horrible. And we didn't have a great deal of assets at the time. Kids were little. We didn't have a joint home together, so it wasn't like, oh man, all of these assets were destroyed. But I can tell you, financially, it ruined both of us. Emotionally, it left long-lasting scars, and I can know for my kids' sake, they'll never be the same, and they don't obviously perceive marriage in the same way. And they don't even remember a Christmas where they had both of their parents together, and that's a really sad thing. Now, that is what it is, and I have since remarried, and that is really what brings me to our conversation today. Is that I figured it out after going through this horrific experience, after realizing that there was no easy out. I had to really figure out what it was going to take to make marriage work. And it's interesting because I didn't realize how, with my first marriage, how it impacted every aspect of my life. Looking back on it and how destroyed I was post-divorce, I mean, I was a different person. I didn't look at life in the same way. I didn't enjoy the same things. I mean, it was really, I white-knuckled life for a long time to get through that. Even with therapy and processing emotions, there are long-lasting scars as a result of that experience. And you think about, looking back, you think about all those positive memories with your partner, and you think, why didn't I think about that in that moment? When I was really thinking, man, this is the only way out. We don't get along. We're never going to get along. And I made this narrative that made it impossible for our relationship to move forward. Oh, it's simply too toxic. He's too toxic, right? I didn't take accountability there. He was so toxic. It wasn't going to move forward. And so therefore I built this wall that simply said, this is the roadblock. This is what we can't get past. And then after the divorce all settled, you start thinking about, man, all of these great memories, right? This is very easy to do. Hindsight's 2020. And you start, all of those positive things start flooding back. And I thought, why didn't I think about that before I made that crucial decision to leave? Why did I make so many simply impossibilities? I created those barriers. I was the one who said it was simply too toxic. It couldn't move forward. There was no way. There was no path for us. And I realized that my sense of identity was so wrapped up in our marriage and being a mom and kids. And I really had to find myself again. And so when I remarried, something I said I was never going to do, but I remarried, and I found myself in the same, maybe not same, similar situation where the fighting started, conflict was happening. And what I realized, this aha moment, right? This very much this doctor heal thyself moment, was I wasn't taking my own advice. Because ironically, I had been coaching couples for well over a decade on how to avoid the very costly mistakes that I made. And I thought, what advice am I not taking? What am I not doing that I'm telling my clients to do? And so the first part that my biggest aha was I wasn't taking radical accountability. I was creating this narrative where there was a villain and I was the victim. I was helpless, that nothing was going to get better until my partner improved, that nothing was going to change until he went to therapy and he worked on his issues. And very naively, we do this, right? We've probably all done it at some point in our lives. And we don't intend to make our partner out the villain. But what this does is it allows us to shirk our responsibility and to say, oh, well, it's always going to be their fault. That's why I'm in this predicament. There's simply nothing I can do to change my situation. My second aha was something that I hadn't truly realized, even throughout all of the relationships that I had coached, was that women historically have been told that we lack agency, we lack power, that men are the breadwinner, they're ultimately the ones, predominantly are the ones that may step out on the relationship. They may be the ones that have anger issues or things like that, and so it's always their fault, right? And the woman is there helpless, and what could she do to possibly change her relationship? And the truth of the matter is that women wield more power than men in their romantic partnership. And so even if you're in a same-sex relationship, understanding that if we have two women together, right, neither one is truly realizing the power that they wield. And that we often give our power to our partner. And we do that, right, because we love, we think we're investing in the relationship, and we're not necessarily doing this on a cognitive level. We don't realize that we're saying, here's all of my agency, do with it as you will. When I realized how to take my power back in my relationship, have my voice, and be able to truly wield it, I was able to transform our communication, our connection, and it's not a comfortable thing. This isn't something that's simply easy, where I flipped a switch and I went, oh man, I see all the power I'm wielding in this relationship. It was me having a true aha moment of saying, I recognize now the power that I have, and I had to build the strategy on how to get that back, how to maximize that. How do I actually use this to my own benefit? Because I realized I had been sabotaging not just myself, but my relationship as well. And the other really key piece that I realized in my own situation was that we focus a lot on immediate needs. So much so that it blinds us from what we actually want. So if you'll recall at the beginning of our conversation, I said, what do you want more than anything else? I mean, if you really think about what's your ultimate goal for this partnership, what is it? Well, and then we start getting wrapped up in, well, I want comfort and I want peace and I want affection. And all these things are actually immediate needs. Because if I really said, what's our long-term goal? Our long-term goal, what we ultimately want, is we want a healthy, happy, nurturing, loving, affectionate relationship with our partner. That's what we want. We want healthy communication. We want intimacy. We want spark. We want all of that, right? But in the moment, what we're fighting for is peace, comfort, tranquility, validation, all of these things that get in the way of our longer-term goal. So when I realized I was, again, getting in my own way, when I learned how to focus on my ultimate goal, my ultimate mission of saying, I want this relationship more than I want to win this fight, more than I need validation right now, I not only transformed our communication, but that connection, right? All of our interactions have been transformed by keeping our eye on the greater prize, recognizing that we are our own worst villain. We get in our own way. So this program is designed to help women get their power back. Women who are ready to take control and say, I'm not going to wait for my partner. I'm not going to play the victim anymore. I am not helpless. I just need the information, the strategies to turn my relationship around. Because you have everything that it takes right now to save your relationship. You have all the raw material you need to have the relationship you want. It's within your grasp. You just need a clear action plan of how to develop those strategies. You need to develop the skills to know how to wield the power you have to create the life you want. So when you think about what you really want, you have to be willing to put in the work. This is not a program where I'm going to wave a magic wand and your relationship is perfect. This doesn't mean you'll never fight again. Conflict exists in every romantic partnership. But what I'm going to tell you is this program is going to teach you exactly what you need to do so that when conflict arises, you know how, not just how to react, but you are going to be in control of that situation, and you are going to be able to help you and your partner work through that conflict in a healthy, loving, nurturing way. So are you ready to put in the work? Are you ready to take radical accountability of your relationship? Full and extreme ownership of every aspect of this partnership so that you can create the ideal marriage, the ideal relationship that you want. Because if you're ready to take that ownership, you're ready to take that accountability, and you're ready to put in the work, you can have the relationship you've always wanted. And it's not going to take 2 years to get there. Now, here's what I want you to ask yourself. What's the cost of inaction? What does your relationship look like if you do nothing? Or you keep doing what you've always been doing? What's the status of your relationship in 6 or 12 months? Are you going to be able to figure out how to transform your relationship on your own? What if nothing changes? Are you going to be satisfied with the status quo? Is your partner going to be satisfied with the status quo? And then I want you to think about what you can afford. Can you afford a separation? Financially, can you have everything, all of your stability ripped from you? And then more importantly, what about your emotional, mental well-being? Can you afford every aspect of your life to change? Can you afford to take time away from your kids? 50% or more. Can you afford to lose half your friends? Can you afford to give up half of everything you own? Can you afford what that's going to do to your quality of life? Because that's a far bigger risk than we actually give it credit for. It's not the easy out. So think about, what would that actually mean for your life? Can you afford to do nothing? Or are you willing to put in a little work? Are you willing to put in the resources? You, not waiting for your partner, taking that ownership and acting now. What would that do for you? What would that mean to you if you could have the relationship you've always wanted? Because you're there. It's within your grasp. You just need to act. So, final thing is I want you to think about, what do you need to know to make this commitment? This commitment to you, to your partner, to your family. What do you need? What information do you need right now to make that next step? Because it's there. It's ready for you. All you need to do is get on board. So put those questions together, because it's going to be really important when we're on our call that you get those questions answered. So you know exactly what you need in order to make the commitment that's going to change, that's going to transform your life. All right. So if you're ready to put in the work, you're ready to take accountability, you're ready to develop those tools, you're ready to transform your relationship. All right. So get those questions together. I look forward to connecting on our call. And in the interim, take care.